Good afternoon, my fellow Americans and citizens of Puerto Rico. I am attorney Cobo-Estrella. I'm a federal trial attorney here in the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. I have been doing a series of videos in the past few months trying to raise awareness for the unequal, separate treatment that we're receiving here in Puerto Rico. We have over 3.2 million citizens, U.S. citizens by birth, here in the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. However, we're being denied the equal protection of law in terms of the right to vote for federal elected officials. You're probably not aware, but perhaps you should know, that Puerto Rico citizens are U.S. citizens by birth. The American flag has been flown in Puerto Rico for over 100 years, stood next to the Puerto Rico flag. Yet we're not allowed to vote for the President and Vice President of the United States. Nor we have any voting representation in Congress. We have a single representative in Congress, which is called a comisionado residente, or resident commissioner, for the largest congressional district in the United States. It's over 3 million citizens. Yet that person, she's doing an excellent job so far. However, that person is one representative for millions of individuals and in the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and has no final vote on the measures that are taken by the federal government with respect to the Congress. There was a recent case that highlights the unjustified, unequal treatment that people in Puerto Rico receive. The U.S. versus Baello case that came down this summer, I criticized the decision a little bit because it sustained Congress analysis of treating Puerto Rico different based on the territorial clause in the Constitution, because it's a territory. Therefore, supplemental Social Security benefits did not apply to people in Puerto Rico. Now, this unequal, separate treatment that we're receiving seems to be unfair in modern day America. A nation that prides itself on inclusiveness and diversity. We have U.S. citizens that are being treated differently. We have a second-class citizenship because although we have a U.S. passport, we use currency, we are U.S. citizens anywhere we go around the world. We are U.S. citizens that are not allowed to vote in the federal elections. Now, this raises some issues concerning the ultimate expression of speech, of freedom of expression, which is voting. It's a political expression. Now, the people of Puerto Rico are entitled to the same protections of the U.S. Constitution, including the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. Yet, over 3.2 million U.S. citizens are denied that political expression with respect to the officials that make decisions at the federal level that directly apply to Puerto Rico. We are subject to U.S. jurisdiction. The United States and the federal laws apply here, yet we have no way of making our voices heard because the only representative we have in Congress is not allowed to vote on final decisions made in Congress. So therefore, we do not have representation, effective representation in the federal government, nor we have any vote power. Therefore, as an attorney, I believe we're being denied the right to freedom of speech and a political expression here in Puerto Rico. We're also, I believe, denied the rights pursuant to the 15th Amendment and the 14th Amendment and the equal protection of the law. Why? Because in my particular case, when I moved to Florida at the age of 13, I lived in Florida somewhere between 15 and 20 years. I was a resident, bona fide resident of the Sunshine State. I had the opportunity to participate in the federal elections while I was there. I moved back to Puerto Rico shortly after the year 2000, and guess what? I lost that right. Now, why am I bringing awareness to this? Because as an attorney, I had the opportunity to represent a lot of people, not just Puerto Ricans, but U.S. citizens that have relocated back to Puerto Rico. And they're asking me, Cobo, what's going on? What do you mean I can't vote? Why am I being denied? This is an injustice that America needs to resolve at some point, and we're hoping to call attention and peaceful, find a lawful way of resolving this, because I believe as an attorney that if you're U.S. citizens, all U.S. citizens should be entitled to the same equal rights afforded under the law. There shouldn't be a discrepancy as, okay, because you're a resident of this particular area or this other area, you're going to have more or less rights. I don't think in modern society America would allow that. I think you recognize as if we're all equal under the law as we're supposed to be, All U.S. citizens should be entitled to the same fundamental rights, including the most important one, which is the fundamental right to exercise your vote. And until that situation gets attended to at the federal level, I think we should owe it to ourselves and our children who have this privilege of being U.S. citizens by birth, to really exercise their fundamental rights and say, it doesn't matter if Puerto Rico is a territorial state. At this point, U.S. citizens born in Puerto Rico have birthright citizenship, and they should be entitled to the same fundamental rights. And I think that's a situation that perhaps the federal government should try to address, and maybe within the next few years it can get resolved. Perhaps as an attorney, if it has to go through the court process, we may do so at some point, but we need to create this awareness, because we need to, one, bring awareness to the people in the mainland about the situation that happened. There are millions of Puerto Ricans that have relocated to the state who can't vote, yet there are millions of Puerto Rican U.S. citizens in Puerto Rico who either are not aware of the situation, they don't know what to do, or they're simply denied the right to vote in federal elections for elected officials. And I think it's about time that we pride ourselves in the nation of rule of law, that we give everybody the opportunity to be heard, especially the people who are U.S. citizens who live in this beautiful island of Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States. So, until next time, take care.